One of my favorite characters in Code Geass is the woman with a double life who goes by Kallen Statfield in school but prefers the name Kallen Kozuki, which goes along with her Japanese identity. There are many interesting things about this character, hence why I made this video, which contains a list of 10 interesting facts/theories about her. My other motivation is from CBR's horrible attempt at their fact list on this character. Not only do I not learn anything new, but most of it came from the Wikipedia page. This is both lazy and only wastes everyone's time because after all, if I can just look up this on a Wikipedia page, why read their list? So in my fact lists, I try to think outside the box and do some extra legwork to bring you guys new and interesting facts/theories about a given character. So join me now as I discuss 10 facts/theories about Kallen that you will find interesting and maybe even learn something new. Number 10. Kallen is the first character to kill someone in a non-flashback scene. I say non-flashback because we do see Britannian soldiers killing people in the opening epilogue/flashback to start the series. It makes sense that Kallen would get the first kill in the series, as it would be the first of many more kills to come. The actual kill itself is just some random helicopter pilot. Also, there are additional facts about this scene. This is the first time we see a Nightmare frame in action. This is also the first battle in the Code Geass, again in real time, just like the Nightmare frame. So how do you like them apples? You get 3 facts for the price of 1. Number 9. Kallen owes her life to Lelouch in more ways than one. Kallen, much like C2, has saved Lelouch's life many times. My favorite has to be in turn 18, where Kallen killed the members of the Valkyrie squad with the Gurren Satan 8 elements. However, I want to instead look at how Lelouch has saved Kallen's life throughout Code Geass. Lelouch saved Kallen by helping her over the communicator and taking out Jeremiah. He also saved her from Clovis's men after threatening Clovis's life. From the dub, which could be wrong, Kallen says that if Lelouch had not helped her in Shinjuku, then she would have killed herself. Plus, we learned that Lelouch had also given Kallen direction in her life, which also saved her in a different way. I love the relationship between these two, hence why I put this fact here. Number 8. Kallen is in excellent physical shape. Just to be clear, I am not talking about Kallen's bust size or her beauty, rather her athleticism. Unfortunately, since all characters in Code Geass are very slim, it's hard for Kallen's physique to stand out. This is why I wish they made her more muscular in the series. It could have been a step right below Suzaku, who's also quite thin, but at least in certain scenes you can see his muscles. Now, we never see Kallen work out, but we can infer that she does based on the fact that we see weights in her mother's house in both Stage 9 and Turn 25. One of her impressive physical abilities is to be able to perform impressive flips. We see this in Illusion of the Resurrection and Turn 1 of R2. Beyond her physical strength, she is also an excellent fighter. She can take down most enemies in hand-to-hand combat, but Suzaku is one of the few who usually bests her in combat. This is because Todo and the Britannia military trained him in combat. Overall, Kallen is a powerful character, but I wish they added muscles to her design, which would back up her gains. We have seen other women in anime with muscles, so why not Kallen? Number 7. Kallen is the best Nightmare frame pilot in Code Geass. This one is just a theory, but I do have facts to back up my claim. There is a reason why she is called the Ace of the Black Knights. On top of that, she has defeated many other skilled opponents in Nightmare frame combat. But let me give you some rapid-fire reasons why Kallen is the best Nightmare frame pilot in Code Geass. She has turned the tide of every major battle in Lelouch's favor. She is not only able to read the manuals of the different Gurren models, but she then pilots the same models with ease, as if she's been doing it for years. Despite piloting weaker Nightmare frames, Kallen has fought well against tough opponents, including Jeremiah, Guilford, and Suzaku. Many of the best pilots in the series have commented on how Kallen is an amazing pilot. For example, Gino does this in Turn 6 after she defeats both Anya and him with her Gurren now equipped with the float system. Suzaku does the same in Turn 25 when he asks how did Kallen get so strong. This was obviously not a question about the Nightmare frame performance, rather Kallen's skill in using it. I make this distinction because we have learned from Lelouch that having a higher generation Nightmare frame does not matter if your opponent is more skilled than you are. Thus, if Kallen was a worse pilot than Suzaku, it would not matter if her Nightmare frame was better than Suzaku's, she still would have lost anyways. Kallen in the latest film was able to effectively pilot a Zilksten Nightmare frame despite having no prior experience and limited vision. Since this is just a theory, You could easily argue that Suzaku is the better pilot, but again, this is just my opinion. Number 6. Kallen is the primary source of fan service in Code Geass. You knew this one was coming. One of the aspects of Kallen that most people either love or hate is the fan service. Some have described it as distracting, or even goes so far as to say that it makes them not take the character seriously. While I do not like the fan service, it does not ruin the experience of Code Geass, nor Kallen's character. As I mentioned already, Kallen has a slim build with a large bust. And boy, does this series exploit the heck out of it. Here are the main moments where Kallen is used for fan service. Kallen naked in the shower, where Lelouch goes to talk to her in R1 Stage 3. Kallen awakens naked in her bed in Stage 9. Kallen is naked on Kamina Island in Stage 19. And during her scuffle with Suzaku, we see basically everything. She wears the bunny outfit in Turn 1. Kallen goes to complain to C2 about the bunny outfit, only to humiliate herself in front of Jinkei and Gohai of the High Eunuchs. Kallen wears an interesting outfit when she's inside of the green plushie doll costume in Turn 5. We also get a nice shot of her butt as she holds Lelouch to talk to him. After Jinkei captures Kallen in Turn 11, we see her put on a slant with straps, which in my opinion just reek of bad hentai. We also see a callback to this in the latest film. While Kallen is in captivity, she wears this royal outfit that just conveniently pops out her bust. Due to the nature of the cockpit and all nightmare frames that are either the Gurren or based on the Gurren, we see suggestive shots of all the pilots. But in Kallen's case, we get the most suggestive angles from her. In the picture drama for R1, we get a scene of the girls bathing, and Kallen is held by Shirley so they can check her bust size. I understand that there are people who enjoy fan service, so it's not my place to judge whether having it is bad in the story, but for me personally, I could do without it. Number 5. Kallen's victory over Suzaku is misleading in Turn 25. This is another theory about Kallen. This is all based on what we learned from the battle between her and Suzaku in Turn 25. In the final battle between Kallen and Suzaku, she appears as the victor. Gino enforces this by stating that Kallen has finally defeated him. What's interesting here is that this is technically inaccurate. Kallen defeated Suzaku in Turn 18 and was moments away from killing him. Also, in Turn 25, the fight seemed more like a draw since both Kallen and Suzaku were not able to keep fighting. The only reason why I consider Kallen the victor is because Suzaku concedes the win to her. But I think the fight was staged, and here is why. Suzaku had to die so he could become Zero, which was an important part of the Zero Requiem. Having him die on the battlefield would make sense, since other people can be witness, plus it would not raise any suspicion that a different death might. Since Kallen is the only one that can match Suzaku, if anyone else were to kill him, it would not be believable. Basically, the idea is that Suzaku needs to fight an opponent that could realistically beat him, even if he's drawing on the power of Lelouch's Geass command to live. With this in mind, Kallen defeating Suzaku was actually part of the plan to get Suzaku killed. I am curious to see what you guys think of this theory. Number 4. Kallen resembles Aki or Akiza from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds is one of my favorite series in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Universe, so naturally if I can reference it in my videos, I will. Aki, or as she's called Akiza in the English dub, is one of the main characters in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D. Just from looking at her photos, you can already start to notice the physical similarities between her and Kallen. Beyond that, both are important to their respective stories, although Kallen plays a larger role in Code Geass. But Akiza does have her moments, like when she defeats Misty, a Dark Signer, or when she helps out Team 5D in the World Racing Grand Prix. Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D started airing in 2008, while Code Geass started in 2006. So it appears that Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D might have taken influence from Code Geass, but that is just pure speculation. Number 3. Kallen has the most total on-screen kills of any Nightmare Frame pilot. Of all the facts on this list, this is my favorite. Remember when I said earlier, it makes sense that Kallen would get the first kill in the series, as it would be the first of many more kills to come? Well, this is what I was referring to. I went through the series to count up the amount of people / units that Kallen has killed. Technically, if you count the Flea, then some combination of Nina, Schneizel, or Suzaku has the most on-screen kills. So this fact is just for most kills in a Nightmare frame. So what's the kill count? Well, Kallen has killed over 305 units in the series. I even took into account her kills in the Lelouch of the Resurrection. Also keep in mind that I might be off by a little bit, because it's hard to know for sure just how many units Kallen killed. In stage 11, I counted 83 units that the landslide caused by Kallen killed. If that does not count because she only powered a device that killed the people, then the most amount of units she killed at one time was in the film, where Kallen killed 77 units at one time. At least that's the amount that I counted on the radar. In the original series, Kallen killed 48 units at one time in turn 18. I love data, and I figured this might be of interest to some of the hardcore Kallen fans. Number 2. Kallen has a solid win-loss record as a Nightmare Frame pilot. I discussed earlier that Kallen, in my opinion, is the best Nightmare Frame pilot in Code Geass. Her win-loss record is another example of her dominance as one. So now I'm going to go over her record against other skilled Nightmare Frame pilots. Here is how I decided what a win, loss, or draw is. A win is when the opponent can no longer fight. This can be due to the opponent ejecting, dying, piling a Nightmare Frame that is too badly damaged, and finally if the pilot only survives the encounter due to outside help. A loss for Kallen follows the same rules, minus the dying part, since she never dies in Nightmare Frame combat. A draw is when no obvious conclusion can be determined from the battle. There are many instances of this where Kallen fights other pilots, and due to the nature of the mission, she has to retreat before the fight can be resolved. So now that we have that established, Kallen in Code Geass has 10 wins, 5 losses, and 6 draws. Her losses include 2 times to Suzaku, Rollo, Jinkei, and Bitter. Her wins include Jeremiah, Cornelia, C2, Gino, Anya, Guilford, Bradley, Bitter, and twice against Suzaku. Her draws include Cornelia, Jeremiah, and 4 times against Suzaku. Now let's analyze these numbers. So if you take the number of times that Kallen has won and lost against Suzaku, then you get the number of times that the two have gone to a draw. I speculate this is because they wanted to make Kallen and Suzaku equal in the series. However, this does not change my opinion that Kallen is the better pilot. If you look at her losses, I only consider one of her losses to Suzaku to be fair. Jinkei only defeated Kallen due to her Nightmare Frame running out of power. Rollo defeated her because of his Geass ability. Bitter defeated her because she was piloting a Nightmare Frame with no prior practice and could barely see anything. Suzaku defeated her because of the difference in performance in the Nightmare Frames. The other loss to Suzaku was the only instance where Kallen lost because of pure skill and not other factors like in the previous ones. Something else you might find interesting is that Kallen defeated 4 members of the Knights of the Round, which is the same number as Suzaku. They were Anya, Gino, Bradley, and Suzaku. If you take these 3 points on the list that discuss Kallen's dominance as a Nightmare Frame pilot, it's then understandable why I consider her to be the best in the series. Number 1. Kallen's first kiss was with Lelouch. I only learned this through the filler-like episode called Stage 6 of R1. This is the episode where Lelouch chases down Arthur the cat for stealing Zero's helmet. Millie takes note of this and asks everyone to catch the cat, and if they do, that student will receive a kiss from a student council member. When Kallen sees different students speculating on getting a kiss from her, she freaks out. She says, "There is no way that is how I'm going to get my first kiss. Unless I miss something, Kallen never kisses anyone until Lelouch in turn 25. The scene is also important because at this moment, Kallen declares her love for Lelouch. I will leave my video in the description that goes to the relationship of Kallen and Lelouch in Code Geass. Kallen was actually the last person to kiss Lelouch of the 3 love interests. Shirley was the first when she kissed him in R1 stage 12, then C2 in R1 stage 25, and finally Kallen in turn 22. So these are my facts and theories on Kallen Kozuki. If you want more Code Geass content, but cannot wait for more videos, then please check out my blog, where many of the topics in these videos are based on articles that I have already written. If you're curious where to watch Code Geass, then download my free guide on different anime streaming services. This guide lists all anime on each service with extra information, including if it's subbed or dubbed, if it's only available on that service, and do you need a subscription to watch it. I will also leave my social links as well, and everything else you need in the description below. But now I want to know which of these facts was your favorite. Also, what is your favorite Kallen fact in general? Let me know in the comment section below. Please like and share this video, and I will talk to you guys next time.